Father's Day pig roast here at Bay Haven. And we have to start somewhere, and where we start is from the beginning, always. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a whole hog, and we're going to roast him this weekend. But before we do that, we have to prepare this chicken to go inside the hog, because we're going to stuff the hog with chicken and smoked sausage. And that can be the smoked sausage of your choice. We happen to have some Polish sausage and some jalapeno cheddar cheese sausage, about 5 pounds of each, and one whole chicken that we're going to put inside the carcass of this pig and cook it, roast it, for 12 to 15 hours. We're going to start boning this hog on the rib portion here. We're going to just work our knife down the ribs and continue to go down the ribs and down the belly and into the leg portion and loosen all this stuff up on both sides of the hog. That's the start. Okay, I'm just working my way down the rib cage to try and get down to the bones in the shoulder portion and then the rest of the hog. This is the belly portion, which would typically be the bacon. And we start running out of bones here because it's basically just going to be bacon. And we're going to work our way down on that and kind of follow the curvature of the back and the curvature of the bones in order to get to the loin portion, which is in the middle, or the backbone. And that's kind of where everything is going right here. And as we get to that point, of course, we're going to run into shoulder bones and leg bones and other kinds of bones, which we're going to go around and try and disjoint and extract from the pig itself. One of the big things about this is the paddle bone, which is a shoulder bone. This is going to be one of your most difficult bones to pull out without having any other cuts in the meat. And what you want to do is work your way around this. It's a flat bone on this side. As you go over it, just work your way around this until you can feel it. And don't be afraid to stick your finger in there ahead of your knife to feel where you're going, because that's kind of what guides you. And then as soon as that bone gets loose, we're going to pop a joint up here, and that will help us kind of work it out of the carcass. You can feel the joint, you can kind of see it right there. And once we do that, then it'll pretty easily come out as you just work around it. The bone we talked about earlier is this paddle bone or shoulder bone. You can see we've scraped it off here and we've gone around. We've popped the knuckle and then we've worked our way around the fin here and out. You can see that's your problem area. You have to work around that, and then you pop your joint and then out comes the bone. So okay, our next step is we're going to get this leg bone out of here, which was attached to that paddle bone, and we're going to try and do it. We're going to work the bone with the tip of our knife down, 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 and we're scribing the bone until we get to the knee joint. And when we get to the knee joint, we want to pop that joint and work our way around it, just keep working and pop it out. What this does is leave, as you can see, leaves all the skin and all this product intact. We can leave the hock on there with the bone in it. We're not worried about that, but we've got it boneless to that point. One of the things we want to do is make sure that we preserve these pork tenderloins. This is one of the best part of the whole pig. And what we're going to do is make sure that when we're boning around that section that we don't scar that, because keeping it whole is very important. One of the things that we're going to do now is we come around the rib cage. As you can see, it's got a round, it's contour on the bones. We're going into the backbone. We want to scribe those bones out, and then we want to scribe to the bottom of them, and that's going to be our point where we don't want to go beyond, right there. That is our backbone, and that's going to be right up against the skin. We don't want to go through that or we'll puncture the skin. Very important at this point. The next bone that we have to worry about as we come around here and follow the contour of the backbone is the sirloin or hip bone. And when you hit that, you kind of got to work yourself around it. It's another one of those bones that's got a weird shape to it. And it's going to have a curve, and it's going to curve right into the leg bone. So if you expose that leg bone, you can see exactly where it's at. You can see exactly where the joint's at. And then when you pop the joint, as you go along, when you pop these joints, that frees everything up and allows you to work. One of the next things you're going to hit, we're in this leg bone now, we're going to pop that joint so that we can feel that leg bone. And we're basically going to almost turn this pig, or this pig's leg, inside out so we can extract that bone. Get a hold of it and then push against it and roll it so that you can expose it, and that's going to allow you to get down in there and feel and or see the joint to pop this one out. And again, we're just doing it at the knee. We don't want to take the whole leg off down to the hock. Save the integrity of the pig, and just keep working your knife around until you get that thing popped loose. This is how the side's done now. We've extracted the bone out of the shoulder, that blade bone, and down to that leg bone, onto the knee. We just worked ourselves around down to the backbone, keep coming around until we hit the hip bone. Then we've extracted the leg bone, so we're boneless here. We're all boneless on this side. We expose the loin, and then we're ready to start on the other side. Okay, we've worked our way around the other side, so you can see it's basically both sides are starting to loosen up on us. We have to capture those tenderloins out of here that we talked about earlier that we didn't want to cut and ruin, and we're going to do that right now. We're just going to kind of lay them back. We're going to try and leave a little tag there for them so that when we peel them away from the inside of the carcass, we're basically going to bring them back and include them in the meat that'll be in the inside of the carcass, just like that. So that's how we do that, and we'll do it to the other side, and that's how you get the tenderloins on into the meat. One of the things that you're going to run into is you want to preserve the head, obviously, because we're trying to preserve the whole pig image here. So you have to get down in here and really, really work hard to get this joint popped. There's an atlas joint in here, and basically use your knife, clear out as much as you can, bring it to the edge of the counter or table, and push down on it, and that joint will typically pop loose, and that'll allow you to take this bone structure on out of the pig. Now that we've worked our way down both sides, loosened everything up, we're going to continue to work down this side with your flexible knife, going along the backbone. Again, this is a critical point. You want to try and stay high, keep your bone structure up. Now that you've loosened your neck here, you've got some leverage, and you want to work yourself down that backbone, because that backbone is right up against the skin. You can see there's this backbone skin right there. There's no meat to protect it, so that's why we have to be so careful about the whole thing. And then we're going to work this down and work these bones out, and just follow the lines, and pretty much you'll be boned. Last tough part on your pig. If you really want to preserve a barbecue hog that's authentic, obviously you want the pigtail to be intact. So when you're working your way down this hip bone and trying to release this bone, this is the last of it. We got everything loose from here to there. You want to be real careful as you come down into the hip area. You'll pull up that joint that has the pigtail attached, and you want to make sure you cut that so that the pigtail actually stays intact with the carcass, and that he's part of your display. And that's about the end of this hog, and everything else we'll obviously cut the spare ribs off and eat those, and the rest of the bones are going into the pot for pork stock. Now we've got the pig all boned out. We got him kind of spread out here, and we're seasoning him up with our favorite seasonings. Now, of course, you have your own rub that you'd like to do on it. We do some garlic, we do some kind of secret spice seasoning, and we do some pepper, and we do some kosher salt. We like to kind of finish it out with that. And we're going to just sprinkle this inside the carcass, and we're going to let it set for a little bit, and in a couple minutes we're going to stuff him with sausage. Okay, what we've done here is, you can't quite see it, but we have chicken. We have our cut up chicken laid out on the inside of the carcass. And then we filled the carcass with Polish sausage and sausage with cheese and jalapenos, and we've spiced it before that. And we're about ready to tie this puppy up and get him stitched up and ready to go and set overnight. One of the keys to putting this hog back together is this tool that we showed you earlier, and it is a needle. We just slip our string, good poly butcher string in that, and we run it through the skin and the meat there, through the skin and the meat on the other side. Push it through, pull our string through, pull it out of the eye, pull your needle back, and then you're stitching up a hog. And without this tool, you're pretty much done for if you want to do what we're doing here today. So go to your local butcher or get online and find one, and that's what makes it happen. We're going to stitch him up all the way from front to back with this. After we've done the needle, obviously we've got the string through the pig, and we do what we call a butcher knot, and that is bring this loose string around, loop it like that, bring your end through your loop, tighten it up, pull it tight. It's a slip knot of sorts, but a butcher knot, and then it will tighten right up for you. And then just for insurance, we just double loop it, come down on it, and then cut it off. Okay, what we've got going here now is we've stuffed the pig with chicken, we've spiced him, we've stuffed him with sausage, we've stitched him up, and then we've also stringed him. So we want to hold kind of everything inside, and then we're going to kind of fold everything back and kind of get him in a position to cook. And we'll show you what we're cooking him with. We have built ourselves a hog roaster out of cinder blocks, and it's pretty slick. And we'll show you that. Got them all spiced up. We're also going to inject some garlic juice into the hams and the shoulders before we put him to bed tonight, just for a little bit of extra moisture. Sun's finally come up. We've got the pig in here. He's been in here now for about an hour, hour and a half. The charcoal is burned down, so we've got our temperature right around 300 degrees, a little bit more than that, and we want to keep it between 200 and 300 now for several hours to kind of slow cook him. And as you can see, it's just a big old stone oven. So most of this is just going to be monitoring him every couple hours. We're going to put an internal probe in to the meat here pretty quick to see where it's at, but it's not, don't really have to worry about it until you're about halfway done. Well, our pig has been cooking now since about 5 o'clock this morning. I think it's about 11 o'clock, 6-7 hours. We just pulled him out of the pit. As you can see, he's a nice golden brown, and he's dripping. Obviously tender, very done to perfection. So this is the inside of the pit. If you can get a shot of that, just to show, we have expanded metal in the middle, and this is what we cooked the pig on. He cooked quite a bit faster than we anticipated this time, and we'll probably cut back on the coals by about half next time, because our temperature was running 3 to 350 the first hour he was in here, first hour and a half, which is a little too warm. So, but he's going to be good anyway. And we're going to cut him open now, cut all these strings, and we're going to pull all the sausage out, put it in pans, and then obviously start carving on the pig. Okay, now we've got the piglet out, and got most of the strings cut here. And one of the nice things about the boning process that we did last night was, instead of having to pick everything around, basically we can just cut him right down the middle. Of course, the skin is a little bit tough, which is normal, and it's going to be pretty easy to carve. So no bones, cut right through it with a knife, and you can see it's falling apart real easy. Skin's coming off real easy, and you just expose your meat and you're ready to eat. Now this is the sausage that we put inside of the carcass. Of course, it was fully cooked to begin with, but it's hot and ready now, and we'll put that in the pan and keep it warm. And then you can basically do most of everything else with tongs at this point, because there's not going to be a lot of cutting involved. Well, here we are, and we've basically picked our pig apart. All the skin and the head and things are discarded over here, what few bones there was. This is our harvest from our pig. It's all wonderful pork, cooked to perfection and seasoned well. We're going to put it back in the pit and keep it warm for when all the rest of the company arrives for the big feast. And then of course we've got our sausage that we stuffed inside, which we pulled out, and our chicken as well. That's everything is done to perfection and ready to eat. All we do is we stick it back in the pit and keep it warm, and it'll stay in there and stay warm for as long as you need it. You can just basically almost feed it out of there if you want to. And that's the pig roast from start to finish, right here at Bay Haven. And we hope you enjoy your Father's Day holiday like we're going to. And bon appetit.